Are you looking to buy or sell real estate? You've got questions. We've got answers. Welcome to the show. It's Gonna Be Great, featuring Matt and Jen from Home Team for You. And now, oh no, without further ado, it's Matt and Jen!
There's no screen.
Yep, I turned it off today.
All right, perfect.
I can't see how good
We're
my hair
even
looks.
recording and everything?
Yes, we are actually recording.
Sweet.
How am
I
supposed to
switched my little switcher up, so I'm over here now. I just gotta get used to.
Nice.
Oh, you can't see that. That's okay.
Is my hair okay? Usually check it on that monitor.
Oh.
It's all right. I'll take it.
It's all right.
Ginger's just sticking up a little bit.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I love you so much.
See, if the monitor was on, you could see what your hair looked like.
Man, it's really difficult. But thank you for joining us.
Yes,
We're
we're on
excited to be talking to you all today. Today we have one of our team members in studio with us. So Jane Kelly, you want to let us know what's going on with you?
Sounds good. I'm excited to be here. So Jane Kelly recently joined the team, but a long-time Madison local. So I'm excited to talk about Madison
And radio
today.
personality.
Occasionally a radio personality, more in college, but we'll see if my roots help me today.
A good radio voice.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can try and do how they always do the low, hello, you're listening to. And we'll see if I can maintain
You've
that.
reached.
Easy rock.
It's going to be great.
You're listening to It's Gonna Be Great
Yeah.
on HomeTeamForYou.com.
Yeah.
Yep. .com. But
I'm sorry, Jen, what was that?
yeah, And of course we have our producer,
That's me.
Jacob, who is keeping everything up and running. So he keeps us looking good.
Fully
Yes.
masked.
Fully masked. We're still masked for a little while.
Just a little while. We're all almost ready.
So close.
So close.
So ready.
All right. So talking about all things Madison.
Hey, Jane, what's on the cover of your computer there?
Well, it's actually very topical because a lot of them are Madison themed since I've lived here so long. So
Show the camera.
is it over there?
Where is it?
I'm not ready to be a video personality as well, just my voice. Okay, so I have the lakes of Madison. So I have Mendota and Monona over here.
What's with the goat?
The goat is from a brewery, and they were giving out stickers at Oktoberfest, which is another Madison tradition.
Is it Dancing Goat?
I think so.
I seem to recognize
know.
a lot of beer stickers on there.
Yeah, they give them away, and it's very fun.
I know the owner
Lone
of Dancing
Girl.
Goat.
Oh, you do? Nice. So I got one of their stickers. The Lone Girl is also another sticker I picked up because I thought it was a very pretty sticker. We have American Players Theater, which is out in Spring Green.
Yep.
It's only about 45 minutes away from Madison, so my family and I went every summer since I was 6.
Wow. I've been once.
Oh, we went a couple times. I made you
With
go.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember
to
what
the-
you saw?
Do you remember what you saw?
Not a chance.
About the Shakespeare.
It
was
was Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Yes, and we got the little box
We
lunch
went
thing.
twice?
Yeah, and one time it was raining. Like it was
Oh.
I
raining
vaguely
ish.
remember that.
Yeah, and you were bitter.
Not happy. Yeah. I'm sitting outside
not
watching
fun.
it play in the rain. What's not to love?
Wow, Matt. You're selling it good. The best of Madison. Go see a play
It's
in the
Spring Green,
rain.
It's not Madison.
It's sunny most of the
Most of the
time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it rains super bad, they'll comp your ticket so you can go back another time when it's not raining, which is nice. But it you have to get that fine line between a light drizzle and downpour.
That was the best Pink Floyd concert ever. That was Madison.
Really?
Camp Randall. Yep.
Pink Floyd was in Madison?
Yep.
You
Pink
weren't
Floyd,
alive.
Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones. Rolling
enough.
Stones was there. Genesis.
Wow. It's back when concerts were in black and white, right?
Back when concerts were good.
Wow.
Pink Floyd, though, it started drizzling. It was, again, a Madison topic. It was Camp Randall must have been, what year did we meet?
94.
So it must have been 92 or 93.
Whoa.
It started to drizzle, and they have a light show or a laser show that's amazing. So it hits all the rain droplets. It was pretty cool. Anyway, what's the next sticker?
Tubular.
Next sticker.
Totally.
I have a lot of political stickers as well,
Because it's Madison.
Because it's Madison.
That's right.
Copper plate tattoo. That's actually in Chicago, but one of my favorite artists is there, and she's done all my tattoos. But
What tattoos do you have? I didn't even know that.
oh
You know
goodness, Well,
Could you strip down?
Oh. All right, everybody,
think it's
tune
that
into
kind of
the
podcast.
video version of this podcast.
Her glasses are starting to fog up now.
Thankfully, we have the masks on, so people can't see me turning bright red. I have like a back tattoo. I have some rib tattoos. I have some leg tattoos. Some arm tattoos.
What's your favorite tattoo?
Oh God, that's so difficult.
Aren't you glad you came on the podcast?
I think it'd have to be a toss-up between my red-tailed hawk I have on my ribs. Oh, I love my arm piece. That's like some hands and some plants. But then I also have a tarot card on my leg that I love a lot too. So
You're tatted up.
yeah, I also have a huge one that's like half my back. That's some wild oats.
What? you have
People often
wild
don't
oats in
guess
your back?
looking at me. Yeah.
So we have to start doing that in the interview process. We need a photo of all your tattoos.
Yeah, I think Jake said that he had some tattoos too. So there's some
A lot of
tatted
our
up folks. On
a
this
lot of
They
our
do.
team members do have tattoos.
Gracie does.
I'm just not like brave enough to get one.
Jacob,
So-
do you have a tattoo?
I do not.
It's your chicken too.
I'm not chicken. I just,
Your chicken.
I always have money that needs to be spent in other ways. But I
That's
do,
true.
I do have plans on tattoos. I just
Can we get you a home team for
Haven't.
your tattoo?
Oh yeah.
you know what? There's $1 for everything.
Really?
Right on your forehead.
No, that'd have to be a branding.
No,
tattoo.
we're not branding anyone. That would hurt.
Oh gosh.
It's great to work here, by the way.
Tattoos would hurt too. More than maybe branding probably hurt more, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you like pick and commit to your tattoo? That would be my problem because I'd be like, well, what if I change my mind?
Your recent.
That's a good question. I got my first tattoo in Madison. I was 18 and I went to a little tattoo parlor. It's not there anymore, over on Regent Street. And my friend was getting her nose pierced. And while I was there, I was like, I've always wanted a tattoo. There was a tattoo artist like, I'm free right now. What do you want? And I was like, a book? I like to read. And he was like, okay, here, sketch something out. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then I had a tattoo.
Wow.
So,
How old?
Huh?
How old are you?
18. So
It's like, that sounds
just
pretty
legal.
spontaneous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
And then I got the bug for it, which I think is what they say. It's like after your first couple tattoos, all you just want is to continue getting more tattoos. And
That's what Gracie said. Same thing.
yeah, it's like once you've broken the ice, you're like, oh, neat.
My skin
So-
is damaged forever. Might as well go all the rest of the way.
I
Her
don't think of it
sister-
as damaged, expensive.
Gracie's sister is actually the tattoo artist.
Oh, that's awesome. Is her sister a local?
No.
No, she's in Milwaukee.
area. Yeah.
Okay. That's not too far.
Could have a home team for you tattoo party.
Yeah.
I was doing some tattoo shopping. I haven't got what I want yet, so I'm not going to say what it is. But I had a very particular idea, and so I was like,
Was
I'm
it
not.
Bitcoin?
It should have been. Oh, that'd be another one. That'll cover my entire back. But first, I need to like
One big Bitcoin
need
across
to
your
cash
back.
out. Yeah. I'll put my Bitcoin wallet on me, my address, so people can just send me Bitcoin when they see it.
You could get a QR code that like links to
Yeah.
things. You could get one that links to
Yes.
hometeamforyou.com.
There you go.
Oh, wow. That goes on your forehead. No, I wanted to, I Googled, or I like went on Instagram and I started researching like the best tattoo artists available. And then I was like, how do I get in contact with these people and like reach them? Like, I was like going to make a trip out of it. Where I could fly out to wherever they lived and like go get a tattoo there and book it like months in advance. But I found the guy I really wanted and he never messaged me. I'm like, I was like, it's my first tattoo and I really want this. And
He's probably like, click.
it's like, no.
Delete.
No.
No, I've had these guys before. Click.
Yeah. Oh, well. I'll get one eventually. But
Jen, what would your tattoo be?
I have a little mole on my foot, and I thought that I could turn it into a flower, but that's about it.
what ones I hear are hard.
Hurt.
They hurt and they need
That's a
some
good question, Jane. What was your
maintenance.
most painful tattoo?
I always feel guilty answering this question because I infamously have an extremely high pain threshold. So I'm always like, they don't hurt. And then other people are like, you crazy person. Probably the one that hurt the most is my back tattoo, actually. There was some on like my shoulder blade because I think it hurts more the closer your bone is to the skin. Those like little sections hurt a fair amount, but otherwise it's not not too painful a process.
So the forehead would probably hurt the most.
Yeah, forehead would probably hurt a fair amount, but it's worth it, right? QR
No.
code right there.
Oh no. I was thinking instead of a little tear or whatever, just right here. QR code.
Word.
No.
But you have to-
Totally gangster.
Weird
It's like, don't you have to like kill someone for that?
I'm just kidding.
After a QR code. QR code.
Because people will be like, oh, look, oh, it's just a QR code.
So anyhow, we're talking about Madison,
Yes,
the best
best of Madison.
of Madison. Thanks for still tuning in. That was today's topic. We wanted to go through and kind of talk about our favorite, just our favorite things we love about Madison and some of the things we absolutely don't love, borderline hate about Madison. But let's start on the good stuff. I was thinking we could start with restaurants. There's got to be some decent
200?
restaurants in this town. This area. And you know what? I'm also game to say, hey, if we want to expand outside Madison, you know, a little bit, I think it's fair. But does anyone want to start? Does anybody have a top Madison spot that comes to mind?
Well, for those of Jen Jacob have food allergies, Monty's Blue Plate. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's solid. It's got that classic diner feel.
I mean, you have all those restaurants
It's in a
around
cool
the
neighborhood.
You have all the restaurants around the square too that are phenomenal.
Pretty much most of the food fight restaurants can cater to folks with allergies. So I like all of those. Anyone that will cater to food allergies, where I can just order something and not have to go, without this, without that, make sure it doesn't have this, don't kill me, thank you. Those are the ones I like. So Monty's we go to a lot.
Yeah,
Maybe tonight.
It's really good.
Atwood's got a lot of good spots.
It's really been up and coming too, like Bar Coralini,
Yes.
the Lao Lang Zang. And then you
Cento.
also have, I just ate that a couple days ago, actually. So good.
We should get restaurant sponsors, I think, for the show. Jacob, what do you think?
I'm all about it. I will try.
Yeah. I really love restaurants where you can just say, hey, here's my situation. And they're like, oh, I can tell the chef and then we'll just do this and that. And then I'm like, I love you.
Greenbush Bakery.
Back when I could eat gluten, that was the spot. I actually could walk to it on my way to college classes, so I frequented there too often.
I think Bloom Bake Shop does a really good job. It's on Monroe Street. It's newer in the last, I think, 5-ish years. And they do a really good job of having like vegan, gluten-free, all sorts of different bakes and desserts that are really good. And they do a really good brunch as well.
We were just talking about that on the podcast the other day about bakeries with Michelle, the Madison city assessor.
Yes. Yeah.
She said go there too. Must be the spot.
Yeah, she must have allergies too.
Yeah.
But there's restaurants like Gray's down in the square. Those restaurants down there.
Yeah.
Do you guys like sushi?
Yes.
Matt does.
Well,
Nope.
I don't really eat the real sushi. I have California rolls. The extent of my.
Gotcha. Jane, do you do sushi?
I do sushi. Sushi Red, I think, is iconic Madison sushi spot.
I think it is hands down the best.
Yeah, I think
it
Sushi
called?
Muramoto is good too. Sushi Red, it's over on West Wash, and then Sushi Muramoto has one in Hilldale and then one off the square on King Street. And they have really good desserts. Chocolate Shop, another kind of local Madison confectionery, they do custom ice cream flavors for Sushi Muramoto. So they have like a honey ginger and a black sesame ice cream that are really unbeatable.
Road trip.
So,
What's your favorite Chinese restaurant?
ooh, I like Halong Bay, and then I also really like Chen's Dumplings.
Is Halong Bay
on State
Chinese?
Street. I think
Japanese.
I think they do
No.
like a variety of
I don't know what it is.
cuisines there.
Yeah.
But I thought they did some like more traditionally Chinese dishes there, and then
maybe they do. I just don't know.
I don't know.
For some reason, I always thought it was like Vietnamese or
yeah,
something.
they
Jen, what-
definitely do that.
I don't know, but
What's
it's
the one on the west
delicious.
It's true.
What's the one on the west side that, remember we used to go to the one on the east side, then they closed it. And
Red Pepper.
Red Pepper.
I haven't done that one.
It's on the west side. It's a small little part
Yeah,
of
it used to be right on the corner of East Washington Avenue and
51.
51, but they closed it as a car dealership now. So they just have like in a strip mall. But
On the west side.
yeah, we like the diet dish there. Garlic sauce.
Steamed vegetables.
Really good. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so hungry at the
I know.
end.
I'm
I
just
know.
thinking the
This
same thing.
episode's getting rough. Like,
My stomach's
I'm
growling.
not gonna make it through this.
Like, somebody order food.
Can we switch topics on
Yes,
other things
please.
we love? Like, let's. I actually feel like we could do like a shout out like every week of like a different restaurant.
Because there's like 20 more I can think of
Old
just off the
fashioned.
top of my head. Old fashioned, Brazier V, Pizza Bruta,
Oh, Pizza Bruta.
Marigold.
So
I
funny-
can eat their
Pizza Bruta
Yeah,
actually
crust.
was next to us. We did the what was the dog festival?
Dogtoberfest
Dogtoberfest.
for Humane Society.
So we had our own little tent and table, and we had a game set up. But next to us was
Hard Mike's
Hard Mike's
Lemonade.
Lemonade, and then one down from that was Pizza Bruta. I think our kids probably had 2 pizzas each.
Yeah, I
They're
think we
so
probably
good.
ordered 4 or 5 pizzas just for the people working our thing.
They had the
Yeah.
stove or the fire going and a little portable deal, and wow, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was phenomenal.
We were like, the kids were like, "Can we go again?" We're like, "Yes."
Just stop eating stuff.
Yeah. It worked.
Are we
So-
switching topics?
Yeah, we're trying. I'm trying to.
There's too many good restaurants.
I know. Let's pause on the restaurants because there's other good things about Madison. What about entertainment? How about free entertainment? What's your favorite free entertainment thing to do in Madison? If you just want to go out and do something, it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right off the top of my head, I love the Chazen. They always have really good art exhibits through here, and sometimes they do really interesting ones. Like they had one where it was like all old maps from like the 16, 17, and 1800s. That was super cool. I love to go there. Albrecht Gardens is free
Yep.
too for the outside. That's really cool. The Arboretum, if you're feeling more outdoorsy.
I feel like the Arboretum's super underrated.
Yeah.
Like I forget it exists, but it's like right in the middle of Madison, and it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Field trip.
Yep.
We'll do the food, and then we'll go to the Arboretum.
Yeah, because we'll need to walk it off to digest.
All right, sorry, Jane, you were on a roll.
Oh, goodness. Things like Concert on the Square, I think, are really good. Oftentimes, too, if you just kind of like go on the Isthmus or like the UW Madison, like I know pre-pandemic, the UW would do like movie screenings on the terrace, like the Union, and those were really cool because you just go sit, have some lemonade, and like watch old movies by the lake, and it was amazing and free, which I think is the coolest part. Yeah, so those are just the things off the top of my head. I'll think a little bit more too.
It's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the farmers markets, and all
Farmers
that kind of
markets,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yep. They're moving it this year.
Yeah?
Farmers Market's not going to be on the square. No, it's going to be at the Alliant Energy Center
Really?
because of COVID, you know.
It's not gonna be the same.
No, I don't think so. I'm not even sure how, like, it's supposed to keep it safe, but I'm like, it's indoors now.
Yeah, I was like, how does that make it
Seems
better?
less safe. They must have, like, a capacity limit or some way to, like, spread people out. Like, maybe
I suppose they couldn't control the crowd on
no,
the Capitol.
there's no way you could control. No.
So what if that eliminates Art Fair and Square again?
Oh,
Well, when is that? That's
July.
July.
Last week of July.
But that's only like a couple days.
Yeah.
So
Have you ever been to Art Fair and Square?
It's-
I have. It's
Yeah.
insane. You
It's
just
shoulder
walk.
to shoulder.
It's like walking in a Six Flags theme park line. You're just there's something I can't buy. That's $1,000 over my limit.
The best part about it, when the kids were little, we'd go to Art Fair in the Square, and we'd make them sit together in the stroller. We'd have room underneath the stroller for stuff we bought.
Yeah, we decorated a lot of our house with stuff from Art Fair on the Square because
Back then, it was less expensive.
Well,
though.
it was less expensive, and we were really into metal art and glass art.
Glass, yeah.
So I mean, Caden was like sleeping in the stroller, and we had like all this art, like padding him in his stroller because it was
Don't
our
move, kid.
our
You got
cart.
glass around you.
Yeah.
And I think what's really cool about Art Fair on the Square too is that they do Art Fair off the square, which is then just local artists and like Madison and adjacent to Madison artists. Like
Is that on King Street? Is that where they do it?
they
Or is
do
up
it
further
leading
off?
up to Monona Terrace, I think.
Okay.
Oh, is it
that
on
Martin Luther
Martin
King?
Luther
Martin Luther King,
King? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's always cool to like see all the local artists, and they also have like all the kiddos from the high schools around the area do their own pottery show, so they can learn industry and capitalism at a young age. So
If you're an American, you gotta know these things.
We would always get our gyros when we went.
Yep.
That was our thing. Treat
Kids
for
would
the
get,
kids.
Yeah.
yeah.
some kind of sugar thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar.
Yeah.
And then they go running all over.
Yeah, poor Matt. I would be like, no, we need something for here. Let's walk around again. And he's like, no. But it's a nice way to find stuff that is unique.
Yeah.
You know what I think is another underrated free thing that most places don't have? We got a free zoo.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Forgot
I think
about
we
that.
take for granted how we have a free zoo.
Yeah.
In Madison. Madison's not that big of a city, and the fact that we have a zoo is pretty cool.
Yeah. And there's
been a
a
while since
huge
we've
park
been
there. I mean, when I was young, we would always go to the zoo and then we would take a picnic. And I don't think that old lady with the shoe thing is still there, but
It
we-
is.
Oh,
Is it?
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we would.
I mean,
we
I haven't
would,
been there like a year or
12
so,
years.
but I'm sure it's
yeah,
still there.
we would do that, and the picnic would be like a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, but good stuff.
That's the way you go.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, let's talk about food. Let's just
Yeah,
We just
and back to
circling
food. You go to the zoo, you need a bucket of chicken.
bucket of chicken and get in free. Oh, wait a minute. It's already free.
I just take my chicken and I eat it in front of the lions. And they just look at me. Actually, I think I mentioned this on like week 1 or week 2 of the podcast, but I used to live in the Vilas neighborhood. So it was really cool. In the morning, a couple times I would hear the lions roar.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Did you hear elephants?
No, but
Tigers and
my
bears?
roommates did, but it was actually me snoring.
Oh,
Yeah.
funny.
No, I just heard the lions. It was pretty far away, and I guess the lions just carry.
Where were you? What street?
I was
were
on
you
Chandler.
That is a ways away.
Yeah, I mean it's like two or three blocks from the zoo.
But I feel like all the exhibits face towards Wingra, out away from Chandler.
We should go to the zoo. I
Road trip.
I
Road trip.
remember the monkeys, from being little, and maybe the bears and how that looked, but the rest of it I'm sure is all very different.
And they've added a ton of new stuff recently. They've just been like remodeling and adding
Yeah.
more. They
When's the
red
last time you went?
pandas.
Or they got the-
I have memories of taking our children there and having one of them being terrified of the carousel and absolutely losing their mind.
I'm going with Caden.
I don't remember which one it was, but I remember having to sit there and be like, "You can't get off!" And he's like, "I went off!"
She tortured him.
Yeah, but I mean, it was moving, so it's
Yeah.
not like you want to just let this little
Toddler
guy.
just-
Yeah, he was little too. Like he couldn't jump off. So
Jacob, are you taking notes as far as our road trip? We have zoo with Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I'm actually
have-
recording this episode.
That'll
so-
work too.
You can
It's
listen to the
already done.
podcast.
Yeah. Where's the road trip again? Oh yeah.
We're gonna go to the
Zoo.
zoo. We
It's
can
gonna
take
take
our
a
children.
whole week.
And food.
So we didn't talk at all about the lakes or like being able to go canoe on Wingra and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's free or not, but I mean that's
If you got a boat, it's free.
but do you have to pay for the launches or they're free launches?
They're
Yeah.
usually free use launches. I know because I steal my family's kayak occasionally,
Borrow.
borrow, and we'll go put in on Lake Wingra, and that's just me and my car just drive up and go in there. Or you can do things like boat memberships to Birmingham boats or Wingra boats, and then you can just rent what they have, which is nice because they have like paddle boards and paddle boats and like canoes and rowboats and all that stuff. So depends on what your price range is.
but having all the water is cool.
Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting like spring fever real bad. Like this pandemic is ending. I spent a whole year doing nothing, and now we're just talking about all the awesome things that Madison has. I'm like, oh man, I just want to go be normal again in Madison.
He chose his pocket just so he can make a list.
Like, I'm gonna go eat
Check.
and boat.
Oh, maybe. So what? People need to hear this stuff, okay? If you're listening out there, you're probably craving it too.
Yes.
Like, I mean, every year it's like this around this time where it's like springtime. I finally want to go out. But yeah, this last year has been so much.
What's the first thing you're going to do?
Honestly, I was thinking, obviously go see family because there's family members I haven't seen since pre-Thanksgiving at this
Wow.
point. But I was actually thinking of seeing a movie because we live next to a Marcus Cinema. We can walk there within like 10 minutes.
Godzilla and King Kong are on now.
Sure, whatever. I don't even care what it is. I'll go see it. I just want to go see a movie. I miss being able to do that. Like Tuesdays, it's $5. Like that's some good stuff.
It's crazy how the streaming services kind of taken that over, though. Like, I think they released King Kong and Godzilla on HBO Max versus
I was looking at it yesterday. I was like,
playing it. You looking at the listings, Jacob?
I am not. I am trying to turn off my phone.
All right, that's definitely a thing. I know that I'm just itching to kind of travel and like be able to do whatever you want without feeling like, oh.
It wasn't the worst thing in the world being trapped up north, though.
No, I mean, that was definitely nice.
Yeah, we spent the, March 15th or 16th, whenever it started, through June 1st.
It's like an extended vacation up north. Yeah, sounds nice.
It was just a lot of
Yeah,
Zoom videos and working, but yeah.
we got to see the lake melt, which is kind of cool to, it goes from being this huge snow patch to like less and less and less and less. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's water.
It was kind of cool this year. You could actually hear it cracking. Like it made a weird noise. Like you could hear the ice expanding and contracting. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a neat thing to hear.
Things that we don't hear in Madison, which we're talking about.
Well, if you lived on a lake, you would.
Yeah, I guess if you lived on the lake in Madison, you'd probably hear those things.
One of my apartments I lived at downtown, technically I had a lake view, but you had to like look out the window at this one angle. And you could like
tiptoes through a bathroom.
See it. Yeah. It's a pretty nice view from that sliver. You stand in the living room at the right spot. It's cool. I liked it.
What's your next topic, Jacob?
Hatred. We talked about all the things we love about
streets.
Madison. Is that a
One-way
metaphor or
one-way streets are strongly disliked,
or just in general the street patterns, like especially in the Isthmus area, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's what happens when you build around two lakes.
yeah.
They could have tried a little bit more.
Could have dug a ditch and redirect the lake, and we could have.
Well, I don't know. The lines that just doesn't. It's very, very confusing. They tried to build like a checkered pattern on like a design that wasn't really. There's better ways to go about than what they decided to end
You
up
better
doing.
talk to those founding fathers.
So asking for a friend, has anyone accidentally turned the wrong way on a very busy one-way downtown?
No, but
Like
I've
Johnson
watched it
Street?
happen. Johnson.
I never did it, but I've seen it happen myself.
It was Jen.
It was probably me.
Were you driving down the bike lane?
No, I ended up in the bike lane because I was in this
Like
little.
that one lane.
I was in this little teeny car and I went to turn left and I realized, holy crap, there's a whole bunch of headlights looking at me. I'm not turning left here. So I like went up on the curb and then I had to like Y-turn my way out of there as all the traffic was like, what is she doing?
Oh my God.
I've seen that happen before.
Oh yeah. So I especially love the one ways downtown. It's sort of like PTSD.
They catch you off guard. You don't think
Yeah.
they're coming. I mean,
I was 18.
yeah.
you
Well,
know.
if you don't know the roads,
No.
yeah, you have to know the roads. Otherwise, you are in a lot of trouble down there.
Yeah.
It
I was
is
like, oh,
weird.
just go left. Ha, ha, ha. And the people that were saw my left blinker were probably like, ha, ha, ha. Where does she think she's going? And it was rush hour too.
Oh. No.
There's always the belt line during traffic during rush hours. It's the nicest thing, but it could
Yeah.
be worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say I used to be really annoyed with the Beltline traffic, and then I lived in LA for 4 years. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, it's not
You have
so
6 lanes of
bad.
traffic and nobody's moving.
Yeah, yeah. That's traffic. This is like, it is annoying, but it's also like, it's like the only spot where you have like true traffic in Madison.
I remember when that went in.
The Beltline?
Yeah.
I do too.
Wait, how old
What?
are you guys? My God.
I was-
But
I was young.
it used to be that like Broadway was the way to get to the west side, kind of.
It was a two-way. Well, you know where Broadway is.
Yeah.
So that just continued on that right about where, past what was Shopko. That just continued on as a 2-lane highway.
Yeah, it was a
Just
thing.
I just imagine it was there since Horse and Buggy.
No.
horses
It
going
was like a
fast.
big, huge thing when it went in.
Yeah,
I
it was a big
guess.
controversy
Yeah.
because you go through that protected area, land or water, and
What's that?
that whole area
Like where
around
the
the Yahara
lake
River.
is, and they're going over the part that sort of feels like you're going
Like Yahara?
Yahara.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes, as you're going through there.
Well,
They'd-
glad they did it.
They had talked about.
It was.
They've always talked about doing a northbound beltline too. We'll see
Yeah.
if that ever happens. But there again, you're going through a protected area.
For sure. Well, there's a lot of nice spots around here, so you're going to go through something protected.
Yeah.
I don't even know north side of Madison all that well because it's like, it seems like it's pretty underdeveloped and like it just doesn't have, or maybe it's just my life because I lived in Oregon, so like I just never would go that far north.
We have Cherokee Marshes up there. That's
Yeah,
they'd have to work around or through
Yeah.
something.
Stoughter Realty was over on the corner of Commercial and Sherman. So as a kid, I was always on the north side because that's where the real estate office was. So it's interesting. I have a different perspective of that.
I also don't know where north and east, like where it becomes north.
I could say like
Packers.
yeah, Warner Park is like a good delineator between
Yeah.
kind of like
When
the
you're
north
hitting-
and south.
Packers and Warner Park and
Maybe
Yep.
maybe that's it too. I just like it's all east to me.
Northeast.
It is northeast.
Road
I
trip.
think, I mean, growing up in Madison and being in the Madison schools, to me, it was like La Follette, East. East was north side.
Yep.
What was MG then?
Lost. No, I'm just kidding. No, they were they were right
Ooh.
by
Fighting words.
La Follette, so
Yeah.
they were close.
Different division, I guess.
Totally different division.
All right. So what else do you guys hate about Madison?
Besides traffic. Winter.
Construction.
Oh, the
So
construction.
year round.
I don't understand why why do they have to tear up the roads? It's like they rip up the same road every year, and then they just work on it all summer,
It's job security.
and then there's even worse traffic. Yeah, but then they like just do it again and again. It's like it never stops. Why can't they figure out how to make a decent road last? How hard is it?
Weren't they doing something with the traffic pattern or the traffic lanes now on the bell line?
They are.
They're expanding it or something?
They keep closing ramps just when I want to be exiting on that ramp.
Oh, yeah.
Jane's
Keep going.
coming. Shut her down. Here comes Jane.
They see my little silver car and they're like, nope.
Well, not to bring up LA again, but I'm going to bring up LA again. I like how they do construction in LA with roads because they'll do it in the middle of the night. They'll
do
do
too.
it. They'll
Beltline
do it
does
from
too.
like midnight to like 5, and then in the morning you didn't even know there was construction. There won't be cones or anything.
it's different.
There'll just be regular old terrible traffic. And then once in a while they'll let the whole city know they'll have a thing called Carmageddon, where they'll do like major construction that will take more than a night. It'll take like a whole day, and they'll be like, "Hey, we're shutting down the entire highway for like a day." Or like 36 hours or something. Like nobody in LA gets to travel. And then they just go to town and they just rip everything apart and they do it really fast and then they just put it back together and keep going.
I think I think we were married. I actually drove in LA. It was horrible.
It's pretty bad.
Because I remember thinking, oh, it's not that far away. Then you realize it's like 3 hours later.
It's yeah. Like I had friends living throughout the city, but like I couldn't see them that often because it would require a lot of coordination. And like you can't go out like in Madison, don't drink and drive, kids, but you can go to a bar, hang out with your friends, go home. Not in LA. You have a beer or two in LA and you try to go home, you're gonna die. You're gonna die on the way home.
By the time you make it a half a mile, you're sober.
If you make it a half a mile, well, if you drink like you drink in Wisconsin, at least. All right, I'm not saying you should drink and drive. Getting derailed
All right,
here.
Jacob's getting turned off.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself.
All right, what else do we like about Madison?
This might be very controversial, so Jacob, feel
Yeah.
free to edit this out.
No, I love controversy.
I think that sometimes driving downtown when you have a bunch of young, wild and free college students, they sometimes just like walk into traffic. And I never understand.
Oh, that's
'Cause
not
it's like-
controversial. That's Darwinism.
Because like pedestrians have the right of way, and I am always happy to stop for a college student, like holding all their books and they like have a foot in the crosswalk. I have enough room to stop. That's great. I'm going to stop. I'm going to let you go because that's good that you're getting where you need to go. You're walking. But sometimes I'm like driving down like University or like Johnson, and suddenly just I see like an 18-year-old just like step in front of my car as it's moving, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's one way to get you
And
to
just-
stop.
Yep.
Bump.
I just don't understand. Like I jaywalk sometimes. Police come get me now. State Street, but But I always look for cars. But sometimes that doesn't happen with some of the pedestrians in Madison. They just are really living their best life of just walking into the street and hoping everything goes okay.
Noise canceling headphones and iPhones.
Did you know that State Street, once you could drive up and down it?
Yeah.
Well,
You guys have mentioned
if you're
this
my
before.
grandmother visiting from out of town, you can do that whenever you want.
Okay.
There should be an age limit. There should be an age limit. If you can remember driving up and down State Street, you still can.
But, just to rag on the students a little bit more,
Oh.
Oh, cool, sweet. So is that one of the things we don't like about Madison is what you're talking
here's
about?
one thing I don't like about Madison is if you drive down, like, University or Johnson at, like, after 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., man, it's dangerous. It's scary. Like, because everybody's out in the bars and stuff, and they flood the streets, and they're nuts and drunk, and it is like you got to be on full alert when you drive down there.
This reminds me of the funniest story. So I live downtown.
You just said it was scary, not funny.
Oh, it could have been very scary for me, but it turned out okay. I was driving back from the airport very late at night. And so I'm like driving down Gorham, like ready to turn and like go to my apartment. And so I stop at a light and like I'm getting ready to turn. And a girl gets into my car and she like sits down and she's like, da 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 da. And I was like, what? Who are you? Why did you get into my car? And I was just like, I didn't know what to react. And then like her friend suddenly like opens the door and is like, Brittany, like that's not the Uber.
It had to be Brittany too.
And I didn't know what to do in that moment because I was like, thank goodness, like some very sweet seeming girl had just gotten into my car, but
Get out.
I was like, do you need me to be your Uber? Like, are you good to get home? I didn't know what to do, but yeah, that can happen to you sometimes.
That's hilarious.
Downtown late at night, people will mistake you for
your
an
doors,
Uber.
Jane.
Yeah, I
Lock
do that
your
now.
doors.
click. Just like you never expect someone to try and get into your car while you're driving. It's
Such a Wisconsin thing. Oh, you betcha. I'll take her where you
yeah,
want.
come on in.
Come on in. Yeah, no
I
problem.
need to go.
Yeah.
Why are you talking like you're Irish?
You were doing the Irish.
You were.
There's Irish people here. Well, I in general, I feel like there's not too much to hate about Madison. Like I've in a previous life, I would travel constantly across the country and go all kinds of different places. And Madison's got a lot going for it. I mean, aside from like the parks and the greenery and the lakes and the food and the entertainment and all that stuff, in general, the people are pretty good, except for when the drunk college kids at night. But
And people get in your car.
and people, even then, they weren't. I mean, she wasn't
There's always
rude.
a
They were
couple.
friend- they
It's
were
just
friendly.
a nice little mistake, innocent
Happy accident.
mistake. But like the culture of like the Midwest culture, I feel like is just a little bit more pleasant. Like,
People will wave,
yeah,
and it's not with that finger.
when I
do you
lived
mean?
in LA, I'm gonna do a lot of comparisons of when I lived in LA this episode. When I lived in LA, you didn't make eye contact with people. It was weird. Like I'd walk down the street where I lived, and you don't look at those people. They don't look at you.
Whereas here, you're like,
You're like, yeah, hey,
how are
hello.
you?
Like even if you don't want to, you're like trying to like you drive your car in subdivisions now, and people like they just wave at you, and you're like, hi, I'm just trying to live my life here. Hey, how you doing?
So you had a few pair of sunglasses, is that what you're saying?
I do. Yeah.
Do you wear sunglasses at night? There's a song there somewhere.
You want to sing it?
No. Jane is. She's new.
I'm gonna sing it.
Yeah.
I
That's
wear
part
my
of the-
sunglasses at night song.
It's part of the initiation for first being on the podcast.
I don't know.
Matt always
about
wants people
that.
to sing. Yeah.
You brought it up.
If I started singing, you're gonna lose listeners. I'm so sorry.
Come back, Tom.
What?
I'm just imagining one listener named Tom.
oh,
All right. So let's get down to like some stats aside from loving and hating. Let's move the needle a little bit. Let's talk about the costs. So, what are the costs of renting versus buying? This is a real estate podcast, by the way. So, I thought we should bring it back to real estate for a second. But like in general, do you guys have any thoughts on renting and versus buying stats?
No, it used to be that you could buy property and it would be cheaper than rent. In some cases, maybe now, but in most cases, you're going to, with your taxes and things, your payment probably will end up being more than rent, but not always.
That's crazy, the article that you sent us, Jacob. Just looking for like a studio in Madison is $860 a month. And then you go across the United States, the average is $821. So we're about the average, I think, for most of these.
Yeah, we're pretty close to the average. I looked it up. The national average is 100. Like the cost of living average for us is according to one website, was 100.6. So like we're almost perfectly average. Madison, perfectly average.
You're not going to be their marketing department for Madison. One of the other stats on here was the rent versus owner-occupied is 53% renter and 46% owner-occupied. So that's, there again, it's very close.
Yeah. You guys have been in real estate your whole life. You went right to a house at like 19, right?
Correct.
Did you ever have an apartment at any point where you rented?
Well, when I moved out at first, I lived in a duplex that I helped manage. And we have a property management company, so we have a real good idea of rents.
Oh, that's
and
true.
things.
You do know about rent.
Yeah.
But you didn't actually have to pay rent for it.
Well, technically, I didn't pay rent, but money went to the landlord, who at that time was my grandmother. So
She was very strict.
yeah, no, she wanted her money. But at that time, it was a 2-bedroom, one regular bath and like a toilet in the basement.
Thrown.
And it was like $500.
a
No
lot more now.
garage. Yeah.
Definitely more now.
Yeah, now that same unit we would be re-renting for probably $1,350.
Wow.
So
What is your rent?
Um,
Because you have a nice place.
yeah, I think about 1,700. I think
It's
Yeah.
2-bedroom,
it's a 2-bedroom,
2-bath,
2-bath,
2-car garage,
1-car.
1-car garage. It's a
they
nice
don't
area,
need
though.
2-car.
We got a little community heated pool though, which is cool,
That is sweet.
and we got a little exercise thing.
Did you go in it today?
No, they don't open it. They'll open it in Memorial Weekend or
Yeah.
whatever till Labor Day.
And then they'll heat it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it warm?
It's not like a bath. Well, sometimes it kind of feels like a bath. It's nice. You can.
Road trip.
It's good enough where you can get in it right away and you're good to go.
Team meeting at
Team meeting,
Jacob's.
road trip.
I'm
pool
down
party.
with it. That sounds great. I'm all about it.
Everybody bring your suit.
Or not.
Or not.
Please bring your suit.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I was looking at the same stats here, and it looks like in Madison, 53% of households live in a rent situation, and 46 live in an owner situation. So that's almost 50-50.
It's pretty close.
Slightly more renters. I don't know what that means. If more
I
renters.
mean, if
than-
you have the university and stuff, there's always going to
that
probably.
could throw the stats off big time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like off season.
I don't know how many students, I mean, there are students that go home, but I don't know how many students actually go home for the summer. Do they hang out? Quite a few of them still hang out.
Yep. We actually have access to a site that allows us to see for each area the difference between owners and renters. So, I mean, we could go and just be like, okay, for this area, what is it? Like this zip code or that zip code. So all of that information is available.
For us.
For us, it is.
Not for you, the listener.
So if you have any questions,
So you
just
gotta
let
keep-
us know because we have those details.
Well, let's talk about cost of living because I kind of brought that up a second ago. So cost of living, national average is 100. Madison is 100.6. So that's
The housing is actually over the U.S. average, though. Madison's 111 and U.S. average is 100%. I'm not really sure those percentages or what those are.
it's just a number. I don't know if it's not percentage. Like 100 just means average.
R?
I think it's like IQ. Like the average IQ is 100 kind of deal.
Utilities are higher, obviously.
Yeah. So it looks like housing is the one big killer of the thing that's like over average.
Our miscellaneous is pretty high. What's that?
Yeah.
What is miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous.
Everything else.
The other things. That's probably, I was going to say bar costs, but I think beer is pretty cheap here.
Medium home cost is what, 256,900. The U.S. is 231,200. So the median home cost is higher.
I don't know if this data is 2021 accurate or not. It could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Let's just pretend it is.
Yeah. I should have verified it. You find these things on the internet.
It's just the internet. They have everything.
Hey, but our
It's all
health
true.
Our health is cheaper.
Yeah.
That seems
Significant.
odd, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that could be because we have the state here, and like state has really wonderful healthcare, and like UW, and so I think it's like Madison specifically. I suppose even with like huge employers like Exact Sciences and Epic too, they have really, really good like health insurance plans.
Yeah.
We have so many really top-ranked hospitals. I wonder if that helps bring our health costs down.
Probably. We have such immediate access to such superb healthcare. Most cities of this size don't have access to what we got. UW
Yes.
Madison's pretty legit.
There's what, 3 or 4 hospitals?
Yeah.
St. Mary's, Meriter, UW. I'm probably forgetting a few. We have the Veterans Hospital.
So it's 4. It's a lot, especially in that little area because they're all in one area.
Yeah.
They're all down off Park and Regent, that area.
They got the guys hanging outside each hospital and come on over. We got the best deals. Come on.
Hospital Barker.
No, it's more like you walk in, and I had an appointment down there, and they're like, okay, you're station 4, and they're taking your temperature and doing all this stuff. And they were really organized, though. I'm like, am I good? You're clear. Okay, thank you.
This is an aside here, but when I get my second vaccine shot, I'm supposed to have a doctor's appointment the next day. I'm very worried about it because they check your temp, and if you have a temp, they're not going to let you in. I'm like, but it's just a fake fever. I need to see the doctor for the other thing. Anyhow, just random thoughts. This is dangerous having a mic in front of you sometimes.
This is why we don't let you have a mic usually.
I know.
Oh, he has a mic.
What's the next topic?
It's just a low mic.
So I thought next we could talk about some current events, actually. This is unrelated to Madison, but it was in the news. It's really sad news. So, I just thought we'd break it on the podcast today. It's about Derek Jeter. If you haven't heard, Derek Jeter, former Yankees player, and I think he's the owner of the Dolphins or something like that.
The Marlins.
The Marlins? I don't know. Some fish, some aquatic creatures.
It swims.
It swims. That would make more sense for the Marlins. It is a
He owns the
baseball
fish.
team. Anyhow, really sad news. He's having trouble selling his castle that was given to him by his grandfather. So he's
That
lowered
big.
the price of it by $2 million, and it's now for sale for $12.75 million
Did you
instead
see
of
the waterfall in this place?
14.
It looks like some kind of like pirate cove.
Yes, it does.
It has like a sentry tower.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Turret.
Who are
legit.
they trying to
It's a
keep
turret.
out?
I mean, anybody that wants to visit.
Do they have a drawbridge? What am I looking at in the front? Is there actually... It's just a bridge. It'd be cool if they had a drawbridge.
This is, where is it located?
That's why they had to drop it by $2 million. It's just a regular bridge. This is in New York. Greenwood
Greenwood
Lake, New York.
Greenwood Lake.
Lakefront Estate. It's called the Tiedemann Castle.
Could be yours for a low 12.75 million, Jacob.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He really had to drop the price on that to keep it.
From 14.75 to 12.75.
It says the estate is actually 2 castles. The master castle with a connected
It's not a
tower.
master bedroom, it's a
and
master castle.
guest castle.
Yes.
Oh.
I've always thought to myself, I need a guest castle.
Yeah. I
Lakefront
mean,
estate
it's
lies
not
on
a real
4
castle.
acres.
Unless you
This
have a
would be a
guest.
super fun house to try and market, though, from a real estate perspective. It's like, okay, who's your target market?
Jeter.
Yeah.
Royalty.
Yeah.
Angela Merkel and what's his face? Prince Harry.
Oh, Meghan Markle.
Yeah, those guys. Angela.
That's the Chancellor of Germany. Angela Merkel.
I got those Europeans. Even though she's American, I try to keep up.
Or maybe,
But those, I would target to them.
yeah, eccentric celebrities in New York who want to like escape the city. Maybe like Bono.
So
It's
Greta
like-
Garbo
no.
and Babe Ruth were visitors there. Pretty sure neither one of those can visit anymore.
I mean, it's updated. The kitchen is white, and
Well, that's
bright,
good.
and light.
I would
so-
lead with that.
Well,
You know, we could divide this into different Airbnbs. You could have like 3 sections of Airbnbs.
yeah, we could totally invest in this. Who has got an extra 12 million? We'll throw in the rest.
We will?
Wow, that's generous.
Guest house, pool house, and boathouse.
It looks like you can see that there's other, like a marina there. It's like, I wonder how close it is to other properties. And maybe.
4 acres, so it can't be that close.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Looks like that castle's.
Takes up 3 acres.
Yeah, takes up a lot of that acreage.
Yeah, they probably need the acreage just for all. I mean, if you have a castle and a guest castle. What do you think is it stone?
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Well, if it's a real castle, but
It looks like it's stone on the outside.
yeah, it
It just
totally is.
kind of looks like fake stone, though. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
not, but the way it's
Pretty
done,
sure it's real stone.
What's fake
it just,
stone?
I don't know, but it just
Cast.
looks kind of like someone like heard a castle described to them and we're like, oh, okay, I know what that is. And then they built it.
Well, I mean, this is
Looks like
America.
The architect was like, castles.
I used to be from England. Can I do it?
Looks like there's something behind it. See, can you guys all see the picture of it? Look at the trees behind that turret and the pool house. Something brown back, and it looks like another house back there. It'd be crazy if it was
Which
that
one's
close.
the guest castle? Yeah, that's the thing that I wondered. Because for me, if I want a castle, you would think
I
that
want a
you would want
castle.
it to be really private, and it just feels to me like there's probably a lot of stuff going on here. And so it's like, I'm going to spend all this money, but I'm still going to be like in the middle of everything New York, which maybe or may not is what's the case here. But
Was there a castle that sold around here? Like the
there have been
guy
a couple
built,
of castles
We
that
have
have sold around.
castles?
Yeah, there's a
And it was,
few castles. They're
I'll
not
look it up.
stone, but they're built to look like castles.
Because I was thinking of like the craziest things you would see for sale in Wisconsin. And my first thought was like House on the Rock.
Yeah.
Like if that ever went up for sale, that'd be like they have like red shag carpeting on the ceiling, which is something I will never
That's what's
understand.
wrong with that.
I
not sure
take
what you're
it back.
talking about,
Nothing
Jane.
wrong with that. But
Yeah, here it is. 10,700 square foot Watertown, Wisconsin castle.
Right.
It's all concrete.
Yeah, I think a couple of our agents showed it when it was for sale. And I think Ben thought that he had a buyer for it, but then that person was coming from out of town and ended up not purchasing it.
Realized it was his castle. It looks great in the pictures, but then it's a castle.
No,
They have like a knight in there, like the whole armor deal.
yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting Jeter's to look like. That's why I was like, oh,
Jeez.
the kitchen looks
Yeah.
a little bit like normal. Doesn't feel like, you've got a big carving knife to hack off an animal head or something. You think
Like an
castle,
axe?
like, yeah. Like,
Just some
the car-
medieval.
Like
Carving
yeah, like
knives.
I'm thinking
Game of
medieval.
Thrones.
Yeah.
Right.
This one in Watertown has old church pews.
See, that's what I was thinking it would look like. And
It's
I mean,
place where you watch the show and you eat the chicken without forks.
Yeah.
Medieval times.
yeah, we like
Jen
that
didn't-
place.
ooh, kind of related, but the Bristol, this is just taking me back to things to do around Madison, but the Bristol Renaissance Fair is always an incredible time. Like you can get those turkey legs and like see a joust, and there's a lot of
Do you
cool
eat
stuff.
at that the theater place?
Yeah, there's food.
Oh.
They have like picnic
Box
things,
lunches?
box lunches you can get. Or a lot of people just bring picnics.
Yeah. And there's also like all the supper clubs. I didn't realize like dinner clubs or
Oh,
supper clubs
yeah.
was such a like
Oh, yeah.
Wisconsin Midwest thing until I had friends
Absolutely.
from other states being like, what is it with Wisconsinites and all these like supper clubs? And I was like, what do you mean?
We gotta stop talking about food. I'm getting more hungry.
no.
Let's go back to the castles.
Castles.
Yeah,
So if you had a castle, would it have to have a moat?
absolutely.
Why?
Keep all the bad people out.
Who?
You. It'd be funny. Come
Would
over
it
just-
have a
come over,
drawbridge?
just have a drawbridge. And
Well, if
everybody
it's
can
got
get
a
in.
moat, it's got to have a drawbridge. That's a given. I mean, they
I
go
mean,
hand in
you
hand.
could just have a built-in road over your moat.
What?
No.
Oh, you gotta
What's
have
the point of a moat?
You have a drawbridge.
Okay.
Because they could just go through the road.
But
you gotta-
who?
The bad
You.
guys.
Oh.
If we wanted to keep the kids out, we just draw the bridge up and they can't get in.
If somebody wants to get in enough, they're going to figure out how to get over your moat.
they'd swim.
Not when it's filled with piranhas
Yeah,
and
alligators.
crocodiles.
Do piranhas and crocodiles live in Wisconsin?
The winter
Well,
might be
there's not
difficult.
enough
Muskies.
moats.
It's full of muskie. Muskie will bite you.
Yeah, they could totally just grab Jane's parents' kayak and kayak over.
That's why you have the turrets to shoot the kayaks out of the water.
I'm not going to lie. I literally had a conversation with my wife last
Oh,
night
geez, here we
about
go.
whether or not we're going to have a moat. But we opted.
The answer is no, Jacob.
Yeah,
just so you know.
well, we opted no just because of the mosquitoes. Yeah,
Just
it'd be-
because that's the only reason why.
that'd be it's the primary
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
because
You'd have to get running water to keep the mosquitoes
Yeah,
from.
it's true.
It's like,
Like
a,
a like
water
a whirlpool
feature.
moat. Be like a whirlpool moat.
like a lazy moat.
lazy moat.
A lazy moat float. Oh. Yeah, well, good choice. Good choice.
Well, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast before we called it a day, and this was actually real estate related. I found this on keepingcurrentmatters.com. It's a website that talks all about real estate stuff. That is professional as I get. But I found this thing. It's called the 2021 Real Estate Mythbuster, 5 Common Misconceptions About Today's Competitive Real Estate Market. I think sometimes when we do these podcasts, we kind of get deep into real estate, and because everybody on the team talks about it constantly, nonstop, and sometimes we forget to take a step back and realize that most people don't know anything about it at all. And so, yeah, I thought you guys could share some of these stats. And actually, this made me think of something else.
It's not food, is it?
It's not food. It's about
Thank you.
real estate. A lot of times, Jen will, during like trainings and stuff, she'll turn into this character of like a super obnoxious person on the phone trying to buy a house. She has all of these crazy things. And I'm always like, you seem kind of over the top when I hear some of these. But then I listen to some of like recorded phone calls of some people that have called in. Oh, pretty on. Pretty
Spot on.
point. Yeah, I'm like, wow, like people call in and they just do not know. They don't understand. They ask for the craziest stuff. I'm not going to repeat what they said because they might be listening to this, but some of you guys are.
My favorite one was, I
interesting
think,
things.
a few weeks ago, somebody called in and had to be out of their apartment and moved into a new house in 2 weeks.
Cool. It's just that's how apartments work.
Yeah. So, I mean, you try to educate the buyers, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
I mean, it's a process. I've been working here for 5-6 months, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around real estate. It's a lot. So if you're not working on it 40 hours a week, it's going to be a lot too.
So, number one, it's better to get pre-approved after you find the perfect home to buy.
What do you think, Jane?
You think, Jane?
I don't think so. I think it is better to get pre-approved before you go on your home search because that'll give you an idea of what you can reasonably look at, and you won't fall
Look
in
at
love with a
castles.
house. Exactly. You won't fall in love with a castle and then realize your budget is more of a 2-bed, 1-bath ranch.
Or you could have the budget that could afford a castle with a moat.
That's true. And you want to be able to get the one with a moat if you're financially
piranhas.
able to.
And a guest castle, maybe.
Yep.
Yep.
That's why I need to get pre-approved before you start looking.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you are taking a client out and you show them homes for what they think they can afford before they're pre-approved, and then they see all these houses and realize that they can afford less, there's a grieving period where they have to readjust because they are thinking, well, these suck as to compared to what they saw, because maybe it's a $25,000 or $50,000 swing, and it just slows the process. So it really, really is better to get pre-approved.
Right. And then speaking of slowing the process, it seems like if you want a house, you got to be fast. And pre-approval is just part of that process. So if you're not pre-approved and you get your eyes locked on a house that maybe you can actually afford, but you haven't proven it yet, you're going to miss it.
Yep.
Number two, always start with your lowest offer when buying a home.
In this market?
Just like eBay, right?
That's right.
I mean, there are definitely some folks that are still trying to do this philosophy, and they are just losing and losing and losing and losing. I've talked to some team members, and they're just like, what can I do? I'm educating them. I'm showing them the comps, and they want to write 30 under.
I think in previous markets you could have done that because you would have gotten a counter offer back.
Yep.
In this market, there's no
counteroffers.
second chances, so you have to make your highest and best as your first one.
Now, does that count for properties that maybe have been on the market for, let's say, a month?
It doesn't happen.
I've seen it.
Well, if there's properties that have been on the market for a month, you have a little bit more leverage,
Yeah.
Much.
but it's not to the point. I mean, if the house is overpriced, like really, really, like massively overpriced and nobody's touching it in this market, then you almost have to lowball it because they're not even at market value.
But you know what happens then is you make that low ball offer, and at the same time somebody else decides also to make another offer, then you're back to competing again.
So it's just Murphy's Law.
That's right.
It is.
That's right.
If you're thinking about it, someone else is thinking about it.
Number 3, it's better to price your house on the high side when you're selling it. Kind of relates to your question or your answer to the last one.
Yeah, pricing it on the high side, you can do that. It's just going to increase your days on the market. And sometimes it will just make people think, oh, well, they would never take my offer. I'm not even going to look.
Or there's something wrong with it if it sits on the market too long.
So it can cause more problems. But
I mean-
a lot of people, human nature, it's like, well, I'll just start a little high. And, somebody
I
will
can
give
always
me an
come down.
offer.
I mean, going off what you just said on the previous thing about starting with the lowest offer, if a house has been on the market for a while and then you have to kind of lowball it to get in there, well, then obviously from the seller's perspective, if you start high, you're almost asking in this market for somebody to come in with a lowball offer. So it kind of defeats the purpose of starting high, right? You're not going to sell the house high if you are overpricing it.
Yeah, overpricing can definitely cause more problems than it solves. It feels like to people that aren't in the, thick of this day in and day out that it's like, oh, well, I'll just put this out there and we'll negotiate it. But it causes more problems.
Number 4, my favorite. Renovating your house will definitely net you more money when you sell.
Yes. No?
Sometimes renovations are necessary. Sometimes there's certain things that have to be fixed up to sell it.
Well, hold on. Are you saying this is a myth? Because I've seen a lot of HGTV shows that show otherwise.
You just tear down walls, you put them back up, and have it done in a half a day. That works pretty well.
It really depends
30
on
minutes, actually.
what your cost is. So if you can redo your kitchen with your family and yourself and, make it now look like a Pottery Barn catalog and before it looked like the 70s, you're going to be able to get that money back probably if you're cutting costs. If you have the most expensive high-end contractor in Madison come in and do it, and then you're expecting to get that money back and sell it, in a month or two, no, that's not going to happen.
I think there's certain areas, too, in a house that you try to focus on if you're renovating, like the kitchens or the master bathroom or the bathrooms in general. I think those are a little bit probably more money back to you.
How do you know if it needs renovation?
I think as a homeowner, you know if it needs work, but you can have one of our agents come through and check it out and give you advice on what might be.
Yeah, because
Good
it
idea.
really depends in this market. Because in the current market, it's like even if somebody's house is full of shag carpet and things like that, it's like, is it going to be worth dollar per dollar, or do you just put it on the market and sell it for what you can get right now?
So it depends. I mean, shade carpet's different than remodeling a half bath or a full bath. Shade carpet, you're probably not getting your money back out of, but something a little bit bigger, maybe the kitchen or the baths.
I think when you do repairs or update things, it can make it sell faster. Because if I put in a nice plush carpet instead of the shag, in just a balanced market, the average buyer is going to be like, oh, well, I'll buy this quicker because I don't have any work to do. Whereas now people are kind of like, oh, it has carpet? Oh, I don't care. Done.
Right.
As walls, paint.
Yeah. It's not on fire? Yes.
It's partly on fire? I'll still take it.
Yeah. I'll fix it.
Yeah, so it kind of, what I'm hearing is renovation makes selling process faster.
Yes.
But in today's market, this
don't need
extreme
it.
market, things are selling so fast. How much faster can you go?
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't. It seems like you're just kind of throwing some money down the drain. Like
Yeah. I mean, if it's paint, like if you have lime walls or something that,
I like lime.
well, lime is fine, but
Lime is fine.
lime is fine. But let's say your kitchen is lime and you painted all of your cupboards red and you have tomatoes everywhere.
I like
It
tomatoes.
would probably behoove you to paint, but it's still going to sell even with your tomato kitchen.
Last but not least, our number 5 myth. It's safe to skip the home inspection if the house looks good.
I
Looks
was
might
actually-
be the key word there.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Raj, my father, about this because when he started in real estate, home inspections really weren't a thing, and they've only become a thing more recently, and then you have licensed inspectors. And he said back then he would tell people, you can usually look at the house, and what you can see, if there's anything that you're worried about, there's probably going to be other things that you are going to be worried about. If you can kind of look and you're not super worried about a lot of things, that tends to hold true for the rest of the house. And that was kind of how he guided his principal before inspections were a thing. And he said it always worked really well because people, you know, if they saw something that was scary to them, they probably figured, well, there's probably more. So
are people skipping home inspections these days? Like just trying to win a bid?
Yes.
yeah, it's definitely
Crazy.
a strategy to win in this market, to not have the inspection. It's a comfort level. If somebody's handy, if, you know, your grandpa or your uncle can walk through with you and they're like, no, everything looks really good. But if you are a first timer, you're not handy, you have no money, you're going to have to make a decision if that's something that you want to take on, because there's definitely risk there, because there
can
are things
budget.
that hide.
And you can budget for repairs that you think might be coming up. So there's things you can do like that. You
Yeah,
never know. You
getting
could
a
buy
home
brand-
warranty.
You could buy a brand new house and you could still have issues with it. It doesn't, there's no guarantees. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and most of the time inspectors find everything, but sometimes they don't. So it's not guaranteed that that's always going to save you too. Because what was our house? We had a house in Richmond Hill, and we bought it as a spec. And how long were we there? 10 years, something like that.
Carson, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but at any rate, the buyer did the inspection, and water had been leaking into the roof above our garage for the whole time that we'd owned it. But we didn't know because you couldn't see it because they had just done something wrong when they built the house.
There's something else too. Oh, we sold it, and when we sold it, we didn't have a sump
Never
pump.
had any water, no sump
No
pump.
sump pumps, no waters, no prom at all.
Mhm.
And the year after these buyers bought it, the ground was still frozen, and we had a bunch of rain came down, and it flooded the basement.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just never know
Yeah, we'd never even had a sump pump.
because there was never any water.
Yeah. And it was really nicely finished downstairs.
There was not water until there was. Then there was a lot of
Yeah,
water.
then there was water. So stuff happens.
Yeah, we had something like that happen when I was a kid. My parents finished the basement. Everything looked super nice. And then like a block or two away, they were doing construction with dynamite.
Oh, no.
And it cracked the foundation of our house.
Wow.
And so then we had a leaky basement with this finished basement.
We had a seller a couple years ago, and they had a sump pump, never ran, and they built the house next door, and the sump pump never stopped. So somehow it redirected maybe some underground water or something happened that they had I think they actually ended up putting 2 sump pumps in, and they ran nonstop.
Yeah. Weird things happen. So, I mean, if at all possible, if you can get an inspection, it's a good idea. It's just if it's going to stop you from getting the house, you're going to have to weigh the risk.
Right.
Yeah. So,
I don't think we'd ever advise against a home inspection.
no. Before this market, I couldn't imagine doing that. But in this market, it's kind of like, well, do you want the house or not?
How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
It's like, will you take the risk? And there are a lot of people that are taking the risk, but then there are some people that are like, you know what, I can take a calculated risk and I'll just, put X amount of forgiveness on it or whatever.
I think that's a good term.
Yeah.
Estimated risk.
I think Matt's client that called up asking to move in for 2 weeks should probably skip the home inspection.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to
Yes.
just have to pay cash too, because you can't get a mortgage that
Even
fast.
cash in 2 weeks, you still have to have title work done.
You can close in a
pretty
month,
close.
or you can close in a week. I've had somebody like the quickest closing you can do is about a week, because they just have to get that title work done. And I did it a couple of times, I think.
Wow.
But fancy.
The express lane.
But that's, you have to have cash. So no possible way you can do that with a mortgage.
Cool. Well, those were all the topics. We hit up all the Mythbusters. That was
Cheater.
all the things
Got
I wanted to
cheater.
hit up today.
Now what are you all going to have for dinner? Now that we're all hungry.
Well, I was planning on cooking tonight, so gonna stick with that. But
What you
I'm
cooking?
not cooking tonight. What's for dinner?
lamb stew, and I'm gonna make fresh naan. So
Wow.
Wow.
we'll see if it works out. Ask me next week how it went, and I'll let you know.
KFC's on good tonight.
Matt,
Bucket
you're a
of K-
chef. You cook stuff.
Bucket of KFC.
You cook things.
I cook things, is right?
What are you cooking?
Was it supposed to be tonight? Supposed to be tonight, I think it was sweet and sour chicken.
It's pretty good.
These podcasts take too long, so I'm not going to cook tonight.
So post-pandemic, are we doing an office potluck? Is what I'm hearing.
Ooh. We
We
do a summer cookout.
Ooh,
Yeah, we used to do a ton of stuff with like potlucks, and we had fun events. Like we would, what was that thing that we did at the baseball field? Everybody got to get up and try and hit. We had like a home run derby,
Home run derby. Yeah.
and everybody got to get up and hit. And then we had a big potluck, and
Brats and hamburgers.
it was all on video, but everybody got a home run. Can you imagine how that happened?
It was actually kind of funny. We took the
Oh yeah.
like Raj would swing the bat and he'd make contact and be a ground ball, and there'd be an image of the ball flying over the fence. we stitched it together.
You're saying it was fake?
No.
It was so
It
real.
was a big,
Cool.
big jump off the
But,
infield.
yeah.
That's the home team advantage right there.
Home team advantage.
Home run every time.
Yep. So I can't wait for all
That's
of
why
those
you're
kinds
marketing.
of things. Because
Yep.
we did escape rooms. In Madison, there's all kinds of fun stuff to be able
true.
to do. We 2 years ago we did, and we could actually do this with COVID. The scavenger hunt, where everybody downloads an app, and then you break into teams and you go around and do all of these activities.
We did a lot of customer appreciation stuff too.
Yeah.
We did the Warner Park base with Mallard's baseball game.
Mallard's baseball. We have our pie
Theater.
parties. We went out to Schuster's Farm. Yeah. So all of that needs to come back.
We had the movies at your theater next to you.
Yeah. We had our past clients come out to the movies. That was fun.
We've had cookouts up north at the.
Spring fever's
Nice.
hitting. It's
I
hitting
know.
hard. This post-pandemic life, I see it. It's gonna happen soon. I can't wait.
At some point.
All right, you guys ready to wrap this?
We're good.
Rock
Yeah.
and roll.
Yep.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of It's Gonna Be Great. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in South Central Wisconsin, you know who to call. Home team number 4, letter U.
.com.
That was me, by the way, that .com.
.com.
It's just I saved that to the end. All right, guys.
Thank
See you on the
you.
next one.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.